Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Light Sports Ramble. As always, my pleasure to come to you this evening. And I have to say, I'm glad you could join me, Evan. My co-host actually joined me because I tried to call his phone 6 times, and I thought he was ignoring me. I'm like, where'd you go, bud? I'm like, come on, we got to co-host a show. But I called 6 times, and then you're sitting there tweeting me, are you calling? Yeah, I'm calling, bud. You're not answering. So what's going on, Evan?
I don't know what's going on my phone. I can make phone calls right now, but I can't receive any phone calls, so it's very strange. So I'm trying to get to the bottom of that.
Yeah, and then
I was asking you, too. I was like, are you typing in the right number?
Yeah, I know you text me. Am I typing in the right... Yeah, I know how to dial a phone.
I wonder sometimes,
I may be the idiot with an opinion, but I know how to dial a phone.
You sure?
Yeah, well, we've connected, haven't we? So, yeah, apparently... Well, no, you actually called me, so maybe I don't know how to dial a phone.
Hey, it's my first time ever calling you for this. You
yeah.
Can call me.
Yeah, so now we can actually call the call-in show, I guess, because you called me this time. But
yeah.
I know they don't want to. I know they don't want to listen to us ramble about our phone problems. But as always, before we get started, we got to give thanks to our new home, yourdailycowboysfootballfix.com. Got to give our shout out to Cass. You guys should go out and follow her on Twitter. It's at CowgirlCast22. This girl, Evan, knows her football. I mean, I've been reading some of her. I was reading some of her stuff today, and well thought out, very articulate. The woman knows her football. So again, at CowgirlCast22, follow her on Twitter. Get over to her website, yourdailycowboysfootballfix.com. And
I have her website up right now, actually.
Yeah, so do I. And if you look at our recent publication, Evan, there's actually a link to the Green Bay Packers store on there, right below our article of the recap of the Giants game. When I was looking at it, it was there, and it's amazing. I'm like, wow, cool, Packers store. But let's let the listeners know what we're going to get into tonight, Evan. I'll turn it over to you as to what we're going to get into tonight.
Well, what we're going to be talking about tonight, there's some football games coming up this weekend, some kind of big games that can impact Packers' playoff run, involving divisional rivals, NFC rivals, and one I think is going to be the game of the weekend, and that's the Sunday night game. And you want to go straight to the Sunday night game, talk about that really quick, the Broncos versus the Patriots?
Yeah, let's talk about that one. I mean, because, being the Packer fans we are, we definitely want to get to the NFC North battles, those two games. But I think we'll finish with those. And then we'll talk about, of course, the NFC East game, which will be good for the site that we now call home, which is the Cowboys-Giants recap. But, yeah, let's get right into the Sunday night game. Broncos at Patriots. This is always all we've heard all week on any of the sports shows. Any of NFL AM has been really on top of this. You're talking Brady versus Manning, and there was a stat that went out, and this was like one of the first times that quarterbacks that are over 50 games, over 500 or something, are playing against each other, and everybody's saying the Brady versus Manning showdown. I don't know how you feel, Evan, and you can give me your talk about what the key to that game is, but I think the key to this game is really going to be which of these teams defensively can make a stop. I know the Patriots didn't look so great against Carolina, but they're not playing a defense that's the Carolina defense. And so I'm thinking defense is going to be the key on Sunday night, not offense. Which one of these defenses is going to step up and actually make the play? That's where I'm coming from for Sunday night's game. What do you think is going to be the big key on that Sunday night game?
Well, I think for the Sunday night game, you kind of nailed it right on the head. It's going to come down to what defense is going to come up and make the stop. The Patriots' defense is a pretty solid defense overall. And if you look at the Broncos' defense, they're not the highest-ranked defense in the NFL, but they got Von Miller on that team, and he's obviously going to create some havoc in there. So which defense is going to make the bigger play? That's what it's going to come down to. And the other thing it's going to come down to, obviously, is the quarterback play. Obviously, Manning's got a lot more weapons than the Patriots do with Brady. Brady doesn't have a ton of weapons, but Brady's got Gronkowski back, and I don't know anyone on Denver that can match him. And a very interesting stat that I found from the game, the last 13 seasons, Tom Brady is 23-5, and Peyton Manning is 2-5 in games with temperatures of below 32 degrees. And this being Sunday night in New England is very likely it's going to be below that 32 degree threshold. So we're going to see how Peyton Manning can play in those. And if you're wondering why the numbers are so low for Manning, hey, he played in the Colts in that Dome Stadium for a number of years. So him being in Denver is like first real outdoor football he's played exclusively in his career. So as you said, the defense is going to be key. The Patriots defense is ranked 20th in the NFL, and the Denver Broncos have the number one ranked offense in the NFL. So looking at it, the Patriots, I think, are going to be coming in hungry after that loss. I think the Patriots get the win.
Well, I think you brought up a good stat, and that is, the Peyton Manning and the temperature thing. That's got to be a scary number for Bronco fans because as they go into the playoffs, if they get home field advantage, the temperature might be under 32 degrees out in Denver. So you're absolutely right, though. When you look back and you watch Manning and the way he performs, he's not at his best when the temperature is below 32. Now, granted, people throw that stat out and say, yeah, whatever, that's kind of a silly stat. But I'll tell you what, the stat makes sense for some people. And Manning, when he has that, the thing with Manning is, and with Brady, neither of them are going to scare us with their legs. They're not running the bootleg. They're not going to be running the option. They are the true, probably maybe some of the last quarterbacks that are true pocket passers. But the thing that sets them apart from everyone else, they know how to maneuver a pocket. And for those fans that, are football fans, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They shuffle the feet. They step a little bit to the left. They find the lane. They recreate a pocket. And when it's cold out, Evan, it's hard to recreate that pocket because your footing isn't good. And the receivers, too, the routes aren't as crisp because of the field conditions. So that could be one reason why Manning's numbers are so low. But you look at Brady's numbers, and he does pretty well in the cold weather. It's neither here nor there. I think it comes down, though, to defense on Sunday night. And I'm with you in this one. I think the Patriots' defense isn't getting enough credit. The Broncos' defense, even with Von Miller, and I'll tell you what, I got to give them credit against the Chiefs. They put some pressure on Alex Smith. But Alex Smith is no Tom Brady. Tom Brady will be able to slide that pocket. He'll recognize where the pressure is coming from and be able to step up into the pocket, step outside of the pocket, and you hit it right on the head. Gronkowski and Brady will be the difference makers on offense. You're absolutely right. I don't think Denver can match up against Gronk. And so I'm going with you. I think the Patriots take care of business at home. The Broncos coming off that high, all of a sudden are going to get right back down to being in a position where now they've got to beat the Chiefs again to regain first place in that division. So moving on, we'll go right to the NFC East. We'll go, and hopefully we have some of our Cowboy listeners that'll be listening in on this. Cowboys at Giants, and I'll let you go ahead and get started off on that since I ended up with the last game.
Okay, well, the Cowboys-Giants in New York, it's probably not going to be too warm there this weekend. 4:25 Eastern time start, so 4:25 your time start. And this is going to be a huge game for the NFC East. No teams have really taken charge of that division. The Cowboys are sitting at 5-5. The Giants are sitting in 4-6. They've won 4 in a row. Their defense is now ranked 11th in the NFL, which is a huge jump because for the first 6 weeks of the season, their defense was ranked 27th in yards, 32nd in points, 25th in takeaways. Week 7 on, they're first in yards, first in points and second in takeaways. So that defense is on a complete 180 turnaround as they've jumped from one of the worst defenses in the league to one of the top defenses in the league. And their offense isn't very good, though, ranked 23rd in the NFL right now, 29th against the run. But they go up against the Dallas.
Did I lose you, Evan?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. My phone kind of went out, and with your phone problems, I had to ask.
Okay, yeah, I'm still here. Like I was saying, though, the Cowboys are ranked 32nd in defense in the NFL, and they have a huge mess on defense, especially without linebacker Sean Lee, who is expected to miss the game with his hamstring injury. And their defensive backs have not been very well all year for the Cowboys. So look for Victor Cruz, look for Hakeem Nicks, look for Ruben Randall to have huge games against these Cowboys. And I'm sure Cass is not going to like this prediction, but I'm looking for the Giants to win this game and improve their record to 5-6 and take over possibly a share of the NFC East lead. What do you think?
Yeah, well, they won't take over a share because the Eagles have the bye. They'll be a half game out. But Cass probably won't be mad at you. I will fill you in a little bit. Yesterday, she usually has staff predictions, and next week you'll be in on this. She was running late. She wanted me to make a prediction. I actually have it on the website, Evan. So next week you'll get thrown into that. She was just running late, said, hey, if I want to do something quick. I put something together real quickly. And I'm going to actually disagree with you on this. I know the Cowboys' defense isn't so great right now, but the one stat on that defense, they are near the league lead for the year in turnovers. So even as inconsistent as they have been, they do create some turnovers. Now, offensively, we know that this is just a problem in Dallas. But what I really put down in my short paragraph was the reason the Giants have had success in the last 4 games is Manning has taken care of the ball. Only 2 interceptions in the last 4 games. And again, Cowboys very inconsistent on offense. The one thing, though, and this is going to be the key, can the Cowboys coaching staff look at the Giants tape against the Packers? And the reason I'm bringing this up, just a coincidence. Tolzien to Boykin. Tolzien to Boykin. And I think you're knowing where I'm going with this, Evan.
Yeah.
The long ball.
The Giants would have a huge game.
And so here's my thing, but we haven't seen it from the Cowboys. We haven't seen it. Will the Cowboys allow and put Dez Bryant or even Terrence Williams into a situation to get one-on-one matched up against those cornerbacks? Because I like the odds Romo to Bryant, Romo to Williams a lot better than Tolzien to Boykin. So I think
I like the combo to Williams too because I got him for fantasy football starting this week.
Well, maybe the coaching staff will actually maybe listen to the Ramble, Evan, and actually try to get some of those one-on-one matchups because I don't think the Giants cornerbacks are good on that deep throw. Can the Cowboys do it? I don't know. But if they do, they'll have a chance in the game. And so there's where I'm going. I actually think that the Cowboys can do enough defensively. And what I put at the end of that short article was, it sounds cliche, but those that create the turnover and win the turnover battle are going to win this game. And I'm giving the turnover battle this game to the Cowboys because they are among the league leaders. And I think the Cowboys actually get rid of their inconsistent woes to take care of the Giants and get rid of that 4-game winning streak. So I'm going to disagree with you there, and I'm actually going with the Cowboys. And I'll actually go up. I don't think Cass is going to be mad at you because if you go onto the site and read the predictions, I think she's on your side, bud. You know, and
I like to see that.
I looked at a couple of them, and it's kind of split. You know, there's some Cowboy fans, and this is what I like about the site. Not to get off topic, but I was talking yesterday. The people that are contributing to the site and the people that are listening and commenting on the site, they are really NFL fans. They're really true, realistic fans. They're not those fans that are everything is about, hey, my team's going to win this week. My team's going to win this week. They know their football. They know their team's limitations. They talk about their team's limitations, and they're not afraid to say that their team may lose.
Oh.
Man, now you're adding music to the show. When did that come in?
I'm on my computer right now. I'm usually not on the computer during the ramble, but I'm just doing some last-minute research, and some video decided to start playing.
Nice. Now now the fans are gonna want music all the time, Evan. Man, you're really making this show go somewhere. So I'm going to put you in charge of music production for the next show. I mean, I put the red light up on the screen this time so they don't have to look at my office wall. So maybe
I like that wall.
You like the wall, huh? Well, I had a comment about, hey, they missed me in the car when I used to show the scenery. And so I'm like, well, what can I do? You know, I put up the schedule. I put up the capsule yesterday. So today I thought I would put up a red light that I actually use on the YouTube channel. But let's get back on track, Bud, and let's move into the games for our Packer fans that are probably of significant importance. Of course, the first one being the Bears at the Rams. And what I'm seeing here is I think this is a Rams team, even though the record doesn't show it at 4-6. I think this is a very competitive Rams team, a little bit young, still maybe trying to find their own, but I think they're playing very competitively this year. And when I look at the Bears going into St. Louis, I think that the Rams defense is going to be able to shut down that Bears offense, which will allow them to really maintain possession of the ball. And I think this is a game where time of possession, the Rams are going to be able to do enough to be able to squeak out a very narrow victory. Because I think this is just one of those Rams teams that is hanging around, and we don't hear a lot about them because the record is 4-6. But when I watch some of the games on Sunday, when I have NFL Sunday Ticket, I'm seeing a team that is actually very competitive, and they can go out, and I think they can cause some problems for that Bears offense. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they can too. The Rams are, in my opinion, a quarterback away from being a playoff contender. If they had a quarterback, because their quarterback got hurt this year in Bradford for his ACL. Before then, he wasn't really anything too special either. But, you know, this game, if it was in Chicago, it would be, in my opinion, hands down Bears all day. But if you look at it, the Rams play everybody tough. They have a very tough defense. You know, they allow just 351 yards per game, just 237 through the air, 114 on the ground. They, they have a pretty solid defense. They make it tough for teams to move the football down the field. You know, the stats aren't the greatest in the world, but like I said, they move it tough for teams to move it down the football. And the last time they were on the field in Indianapolis, they beat the Colts 38-8. The Bears, they still without Jay Cutler. I don't know how much longer McCown can keep doing what he's doing, but he's not a starting quarterback. And this might be the week that he struggles a little bit, and I think it will be. And one interesting tidbit of this game, you're going to see two brothers battling against one another in the Long family, and I guess Howie Long will not be on NFL Box this weekend because he's going to be at this game. So it'll be the first time since he joined that broadcast team that he won't be on the preview show. But I'm calling the Rams are going to win this in the upset. The Rams are going to win, I say, 16-13. There'll be a low-scoring slugfest.
Yeah, I'm not going to put out a score on this one, Bud. I think the one key to the game I talked about time of possession, that Rams defense that I think doesn't get any credit at all, primarily because of the record. I think the one X factor in this game that we're going to see is how well can Stacy from the Rams run the ball. I mean, this is a guy that not a lot of people are talking about, but he's got over 500 yards already.
Yep, 537, 4.2 yards average.
And so I'm thinking if they can establish that, because, like a couple of teams, the Rams are on their second-string quarterback in Clemens, and again, probably just a Band-Aid quarterback. But I think, like I said, if the Rams can control the clock, defensively shut down that Bears offense, it's going to be a low-scoring game, and I think the Rams do sneak out a victory in this one, which would be a big help to the Packers. But that's where I'm going with that game. The next game is the Buccaneers at the Lions. So start off on this one, Bud. This game is in Detroit. The Buccaneers have been playing better as of late, but where you see this game go?
The Detroit Lions is still the Detroit Lions. That's all I can say about them. Their defense is horrible. You know, they average almost 300 yards of offense through the air, average almost 400 yards of offense per game. They stop the run okay, but they give up 25 points a game. The Lions' defense is horrible, and I'm not going to say the Buccaneers' offense is anything special, but I think that they're going to be able to move the football on the Lions, and the Buccaneers' defense is pretty solid. And if the Buccaneers can slow down Reggie Bush and slow down Calvin Johnson, Tampa Bay has a shot in this game. I think Tampa Bay will go into Detroit and pull off the upset and win their third straight game in a row after starting the season, which is really going to be a help for the Packers.
Well, you got to go back and you got to say that, bud. You're having some phone issues because you said after starting the season, then it went blank. So, going to go back.
I was saying, starting the season, you know, the Buccaneers started 0-8, and they've won 2 straight. They're going to win their third in a row.
There you go. So I had to hit the rewind button on your talk there, but you really, dude, you got to go get that phone checked out.
Yeah.
You know that's on your end. So you brought up a couple of good points here. You know, the Lions offensively are doing a lot of good things, and defensively, you know, you and I talked about this. That defensive line, they like to pin their ears back, and they like to get after the quarterback. You know, the Packers had good success running right at Sue, and you and I talked about that in the Ramble. And the Packers did exactly what we were talking, just run right at him because he wants to get at the quarterback. He's never been a great run stopper. Martin has been, you know, on and off, having a good game, having a bad game. Some of that could be, though, because they were behind in games. But I think the record at 2-8 is, it is what it is, right? They're 2-8. But it is a little bit deceiving. They had the Seattle Seahawks on the ropes. And this is what's swaying me to kind of disagree with the outcome of the game, Evan. I think they have a great opportunity. But they were up by 21 against Seattle, and they let a Seattle team back in the game. I think they have the potential to go into Detroit and beat the Lions. My only problem is where this team is right now, and it's in a state of flux. With Schiano there, I'm not sure what's going on there. I don't know if he has the backing of the ownership, but I'm just seeing a team that maybe doesn't know, or maybe, I'm not going to say they don't want to win, but I'm just thinking they're in such a state of flux that even if they get the lead, I don't know if they can hold the lead against this Lions offense. So I'm going to disagree with you on this one. I think the Buccaneers go into Detroit. I think they play a really good game. I know they've been playing a lot better. And, you know, it was actually, you know, when you look at it, that Seahawks game where they played well, that's when they kind of turned it around and started playing a lot better. But what I'm seeing here is I think the Buccaneers go in and play a close game. I think the Lions' offense is too much for the Buccaneers' defense. So I'm going to disagree with you on this one. As much as I want the Buccaneers to beat the Lions, I think the Lions pull off this game, but I think the Buccaneers give them a handful, which is going to be good for the Packers because it's going to be a short turnaround week. And you and I talked about the Packers-Vikings yesterday. I think a good, tough game by the Buccaneers will play in the Packers' favor for Thanksgiving. But I'm going to go with the Lions there, bud, and say that they're going to win a game, but it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a dog.
Oh, disagreed twice.
Yeah, I disagreed twice. I have that right because you're giving us phone problems today.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to take that one from me. And
that could have been my hands-free device that was causing the problems. I've used it before and haven't had any issues, but today it sounds like it wants to be a pain.
Yeah, you know, that's the way it goes. But you know, we get through it. You know, we can fill the airtime. So let's recap where we went with this. We went Broncos Patriots Sunday night. We both agree on the Patriots. We think defensively that's the unit that's going to have to step up. Then we went Cowboys-Giants. We disagreed on that one. You're going with New York. I'm going with Dallas. Then we went to the Bears and Rams, and we both agree on this one. We both think that the Rams can take care of the Bears. And then we went Buccaneers-Lions. You went with the Lions. Or no, I went with the Lions. You went with the Buccaneers. I'm going to clap my hands for you and hope that the Buccaneers do win for the sake of the Packers. But now let's move on, and this will be how we wrap the show up tonight. Evan and I are both going to throw out our upset of the week. And this is where we're going to go, and Evan will have his game. I'm going to have my game. We're not going to chime in on the other person. We're just going to go with, this is Evan's upset pick of the week. This is Troy's upset pick of the week. We'll let it at that, and then we're going to wrap up, Evan. So I'm going to turn it over to you, and I'm going to let you tell the listeners what your upset of the week is.
Well, the game I'm looking at right now is the San Diego Chargers versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Chargers sitting at 4-6, the Chiefs sitting at 9-1. Chiefs lost their first game of the year on Sunday night against the Broncos, and I'm looking for the Chargers to pull off that win. I see Phillip Rivers having a really strong game, and I see the Chiefs still feeling a little let down from Sunday's game, letting that get away from them. It was played the Chiefs style. Points and stuff were hard to come by, but they ended up losing at their game. And I see San Diego being able to sneak into Kansas City, a place that's very hard to play. And I see San Diego sneaking in there, stealing a win, and inching closer to that final wild card spot in the AFC. So I don't know why, but those are my reasonings right there. I was very close to picking an upset last night. I had mentioned to someone that looked for Atlanta to pull off the upset against the Saints. I had no reason why. I thought Atlanta could do it, and they came so close. I think San Diego is not only going to come close, but they're going to get the upset.
Well, you had mentioned it when we went into our hypothetical picks. You said the Chargers were your other wild card team, and they're in a position similar to the game that I'm going to pick for next, that people just aren't talking about them. But they're a pretty good football team, that Charger team. And so that is Evan's pick, Chargers over the Chiefs. I went into the NFC, Evan, and I chose to look at, the NFC is the home team. I chose the Colts at the Cardinals. And like your Charger pick, not a lot of people are talking about the Arizona Cardinals. They are 6-4, right in the midst of a playoff run. They've won 3 in a row, and they're playing at home. And on the flip side, people are talking about the Colts, but not as much because the Colts have a 3-game lead in a division that is, can I use the word piss poor right now?
Yeah, and we'll still keep our G rating at that.
We'll still keep our G rating with that? Because they're basically going to run away with this division. It's just a matter of when are the other teams going to lose so that they can win the division. I know that the Colts had this expectation of making this huge jump this year. But to be honest, I'm seeing just average football from the Colts. They've had to come from behind and win, and I know Luck is good at it. But what that tells me is, where are they for the first 3.5 quarters? Where is the consistent play coming from? When I look at this game, the big X factor here for me, Bruce Arians is coaching in Arizona. And where did he coach, Evan, before Arizona?
I think somewhere in Indianapolis, right? Wasn't it the Colts?
He was the Colts coach. He took over for Pagano when he had his cancer, and God bless Coach. I was in Indianapolis when he was going through that. Chuck Strong, good for him that he's back on the sidelines full times. But Bruce Arians earned the right to be a head coach. And where we're going with this is, though, he's the one that developed Andrew Luck last year. So he knows Andrew Luck probably like the back of his hand. And when I look at the stats, I don't think you might be surprised at this. When you look at the numbers and you compare these two quarterbacks, you got Carson Palmer, you got the old vet.
Old man Palmer.
You got the old vet out in Arizona, and you got Andrew Luck, the young buck over in Indianapolis. You would think that based on media coverage, based on all of the hype, that Andrew Luck would be knocking Palmer out of the water with numbers, correct?
You'd think so.
You'd think so. Luck has 2430 passing yards, Palmer 2573. Luck has 14 touchdowns, Palmer has 14 touchdowns. Nobody's talking about...
Palmer's very quietly putting together a pretty good year.
He is, and you and I talked about this. Palmer is kind of that carryover until Arizona can find the franchise quarterback. He's still got a little bit of game left. I think he's lost some things, but he's quietly leading this team into the playoffs. And when they win, and there it goes, I'm picking the Cardinals over the Colts, they will be 7-4. Not a good thing for the Packers, but you and I talked about it. The Packers have to win the division to get in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But the Cardinals are now going to position themselves in the wild card in the NFC being 7-4. I think what happens, the Colts are coming in a nonchalant way. They're not in a must-win situation with that big lead in their division. The Cardinals are fighting tooth and nail to get into the wild card. Bruce Arians knows Andrew Luck. He's going to put together a defensive plan with his coordinator that's going to show Andrew Luck some fits. And like I said, offensively, these two teams are pretty even. We talked about the passing yards. Rushing, Brown has 323 yards, Ellington 391 yards. I know they got Richardson in Indianapolis, but he's done nothing since he's went over to Indianapolis. And so when you look at these things, offensively, I think it's a wash. Defensively, I think Arians knows Luck, and he's going to put together a game plan that's going to give Luck some fits. And this is not one game where Andrew Luck is going to come back, because at halftime, they're going to be looking back going, oh my God, we should have taken this team pretty serious. And so that is my pick, Evan. I'm taking the Cardinals over the Colts in my upset pick of the week. With that,
yeah, that was.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say that was one that I was leaning on too, other than the one that I mentioned. I think you're nailing it right on the head. Andrew Luck is missing Reggie Wayne a lot right now. Reggie Wayne was a security blanket, and now that he doesn't have Reggie Wayne, getting points early is a struggle, and the Colts have to keep trying to come back. And they can't afford. Granted, they're pretty safe in their division, but they can't afford another St. Louis debacle where they lose 33-8. They can't afford that at all. And I think with the right on the head with the defense of the Cardinals, the defense of the Cardinals is pretty solid. So I could definitely see Arizona pulling off that one.
Yeah, so I liked our show tonight, Evan, and so I know you were coming up. You and I were talking about getting a permanent schedule out to the fans when they look at us on Facebook, and pretty much we have 2 days set, which are Mondays, which are Packer recap, Thursdays always Packer preview, and I think you and I were talking.
This Thursday, subject to change, being it's a Thursday game. So
yeah, and Thursday's Thanksgiving. We're going to have to talk about how we're going to do if we're going to be able. We might have to take maybe a little vacation ourselves from the Ramble, but you and I will talk about that off of our recording. But I think Fridays we're going to continue this same format that we have, and why I'm saying that to the listeners is we're going to pick some games, and then we're going to have our upset picks at the end. What we'd like to see from you, the fans. On Facebook, you guys can get us at Red Light Ramble. Evan and I post the link. On Twitter, you guys know our handles. It's eDubs1250 intern. It's at Red Light Ramble. We'd like you guys to give us some input as to what are your upset picks of the week during the week. So on Friday, when Evan and I do our games, we can kind of give some shout outs to those fans that are on our side with the same upset pick that we have. But with that said, Evan, I'm going to let you wrap it up as we always do with the thanks before we let the listeners go, because we're about 34 minutes in, bud.
Yeah, we wanted to try to keep it at 20. Wow, 14 minutes over. We're gonna work to get that down sooner or later. Listen to time. But, I want to say thank you to Cass and her website, yourdailycowboysfootballfix.com. If you haven't checked it out, I know a lot of our listeners are Packer fans, and they're going to say Cowboys, but check out the website. It's very well done, very organized. As you said, she's trying to expand her coverage of different NFL teams. Check it out. If you think you can contribute for other teams, give her, give her a contact. And this is just a greatly done website. So thank you to her. Thank you for that website, and thank you to our listeners.
Sounds good. With that said, as always, Evan, my pleasure to co-host the show with you. We'll see our listeners at the next red light. Have a good night, everyone.